So what I do is I bring relational psychology to the brand relationship, and that carries over into marketing. And so I have four core pillars. I have consent, reciprocity, trust, and belonging. And so when you talk about informed decision making, that really falls into the consent portion of mine. And this is the most applicable one to non-manipulative marketing. It's about transparency. It's about letting people know what they're opting into, what the expectations of this relationship are going to be, and being forthcoming about it.
You're listening to the Sales Today podcast, and I'm your host, Fred Copestake. On this podcast, we explore how sales professionals can develop a modern approach to winning business, the application of virtual selling techniques, how to create meaningful business relationships, and much more. Why not take our free collaborative selling scorecard to see how your sales approach suits today's environment? You'll find a link in the show notes. And welcome to this episode of the Sales Today podcast, where I'm delighted to be joined by Chelsea Burns. Chelsea is the marketing psychologist. I was doing you a disservice there, Chelsea. But also brand ethicist and non-manipulative marketer. So welcome, first up.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, because I got in contact with you via LinkedIn because I'd seen you talking about ethics. And I thought, oh, hello, ethical marketing. I have an interest in ethical selling.
Yes.
One day marketing and selling might be connected. No, I'm being facetious. Early for that. No, they are, of course. And I thought, look, it would be nice to kick that around. So can you just explain a little bit more then what a brand ethicist does and kind of this non-manipulative style of persuasion?
Yeah, absolutely. So to really boil it down, this idea of ethical branding, I pull in relational psychology. So this is about having a healthy relationship between your brand and your consumers. And we can get into more details later, but that's ultimately what it is. And then the question I get asked the most is, how do you draw the line between manipulative and non-manipulative marketing? And to me, it all comes back to agency, which is somebody's ability to choose. So if you start to do things that skew their ability to choose, you are stepping into manipulative marketing territory.
Oh, so their ability to choose. Because would it be fair to say that all marketing is manipulative? And if it wasn't, it would be fairly pointless marketing. Or,
I'm gonna kind of debunk that and push back against it.
oh,
Yeah, I did a training at the Cialdini Institute, and their founder, right, Dr. Robert Cialdini, wrote Influence and Ethical Persuasion. And I am kind of here to say that no, I think that there are healthy, non-manipulative ways to persuade and influence. So what I would say is vernacular wise, yes, marketing is persuasion, it is influence, but there are clear ways to do that in a non-manipulative way.
okay. I guess we could spend a whole episode discussing manipulative Latin etymology of the word and what
Yes.
it is and moving things around or whatever. But it's interesting you say the Cialdini stuff. I interviewed Martin John a little while back, who is a trainer,
Yeah.
and he said, Fred, there are three things that make influence or persuasion ethical.
Uh-huh.
And my brain has gone blank on them. They've totally gone blank. Oh no, I will. If I haven't remembered them before we finish, I'll pop them into the show notes for people to
Okay,
look at.
perfect.
But okay, so manipulative, yeah, we can get excited about that word, but going back to what you said there, so it's agency, it's people's ability to choose. If you're doing something which is, pushing them into a way that they will do something, and you know
Yes.
that, but it wasn't really their choice, you're saying, no,
Yeah.
don't like this.
That's the line for me.
Cool. People like hearing bad stuff.
Right?
Can you give us an example of someone or, when that or what that might look like?
I surely can. I write
Who's
a
on the
research,
bad list? Who's not getting
yeah,
Christmas presents?
I write a research article every Wednesday, and they've basically just started turning into case studies of like, eek, this isn't awesome. My most popular was a few months ago on Alex Hormozy. And one of the things that I want to note is that when I'm talking about this, I'm talking about an isolated period of time. I'm talking about one particular launch, one particular tactic, not the individual or the company as a whole, because nothing happens in a vacuum, right? So I'm specifically talking about his most recent book launch. And what tipped me off to it was all of a sudden I started getting these emails and I was just getting bombarded. And I was like, I've never subscribed for anything from this man because I don't actually align with what he's selling. Why am I getting these? Well, obviously, you buy in emails. So that's like strike number one in my book. So I go to unsubscribe from these emails that I've never subscribed to, and I get redirected to his live stream. Because guess what he's trying to do? He's trying to break the Guinness World Record for like the
Yeah.
most people on a live stream or launch or something like this. I didn't know that at the time. So I get thrown into this like gigantic, I mean, it's just a sea of faces. And I'm like, I must have clicked the wrong thing. So I go back and I click it again. And I'm right back in. And now I'm pissed. And so I was like, you have got to be kidding me. So I screen recorded it. I actually have the screen recording in my article to prove it because I was like, people are not going to be happy if I call this out. I don't have proof. So that's what led me on this deep dive. Well, that was just the tip of the iceberg, right? He held people in this live stream for 7 hours.
Yeah.
Okay, is that
Yeah.
selling or is that just interrogation? Like, what are we doing here? Because I have a friend who has an amazing sales methodology and he is trained in hostage negotiations and psyops, and actually pulled him into my research on the article. And I was like, sure, people could technically leave whenever they want, but if you listen to the language and you understand the type of people he's talking to, he knows who he's preying on. He knows how he has them eating out of the palm of their hand because they are desperate for a different life. And you know what he sold them? He sold them like, I'm not going to get the numbers off the top of my head, but something like 200 virtual copies of his book for $6,000. And then he taught them how to do tax evasion because he said, well, this is a gift. You gift these digital copies of books to other people, and then you can write it off. And then not only that, but he had already given away the free copy if you start to go look on his podcast. The whole thing to me was just layer after layer of ick. And yeah, I guess I'll sip my coffee and step off my soapbox.
No, you're on one. Keep going. I'm not stopping you.
Oh
Seven
my
hours
goodness.
late. 7 hours later, and you're still talking. That'd be brilliant.
7 hours.
Yeah. I wish it'd be framed as value and giving it all away, and
Oh
that's
yeah.
what the offer is based on, and
Yep.
it'll all be justified. That makes sense at a superficial level, but I guess you've gone in and looked under the bonnet and gone, hang on a minute, some of the things happening
Hmm.
here. Oh, there is something, unless you've come across this already, that I think you'd love. A guy called Mike Winnett, who's based over here in UK, he did a whole series of YouTube videos on entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
The entrepreneur formula. He kind of look. He went to have these bingo cards made, so he could go around and he'd watch people go, oh, he's just put a implausible backstory. Oh, he's just discounted. Oh, he's just ended it in a
Oh, I
seven,
love that.
and he's got chucked out. And he's gone to a lot of these things, and got chucked out of them. Oh, he's awesome, Mike. He's so funny. You'll
That's
love it.
fantastic. What's
That's a
interesting
deep
is
dive.
that the
I'm sorry
post,
for wasting your time for the next 2 days as you watch all of these on
I'm going to
loop.
binge watch all of them. Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
brilliant.
And
They're brilliant.
his language is interesting because I had this post, and actually what happened was this was the beginning of me writing all of these case studies. I was so annoyed with this person, and it was just saturated. And I was like, I am actively trying to get you out of my orbit. And you have so much money that at every single app or every single any sort of digital interaction, it's just ads, you know? But he wears that nose strip, which to each their own. I'm sure he has very valid health reasons, and it's not the psychology of something funky and weird that makes you stick in somebody's brain. It's got to be that.
Like an orange hat in the background.
Like a shaved head.
Okay, so there are ethical ways to do this.
So I AI created a image of me with his green nose strip on my nose and said something about To all the people who got conned into buying Alex Hormozy's $6,000 book package, I hope you got a branded nose strip with it. And it blew up. It went wild. And I still to this day have people who reach out to me like, oh my gosh, so and so sent me your Hormozy article, and I just have to talk to you. And so that's what led me to write the article the next day because I was like, okay, I'm not the only one who thinks this is ridiculous.
Oh, how funny. Oh, that's very cool. That's very cool. So, I mean, we could probably just sit here and that's not good, and that's not good, and that's not good, and
Yeah.
that's not good, which is fun. Make for good listening. But what I like is when we can actually say things like, okay, so what can we do? What are sort of some of the things that we can take and we can
Hmm.
apply, and it's going to keep us on the good side and on the dark side, and that. So you go back to what you said. So I think your definitions here. So it was about agency. People, you're giving people choice. Yeah, they're
Hmm.
making in. So I would say, from an ethical selling point of view, it's about informed decision making. It's
Yes.
saying, look,
Yeah.
here is the information. You decide. I won't pressure you. I'm here to support it. I'm here to help you make sense of it.
Hmm.
It's up to you. That's like in that kind of sales interaction
Yes.
thing.
Yeah.
What's that looking like in marketing then?
Yeah, so I connect branding and marketing because they are two separate things. And so to me, I use a tree analogy about like the brand positioning and the brand being the roots. It's really critical, but it's not seen, right? It's under the ground. Whereas your marketing is forward facing. So it becomes the trunk and all these pieces, an elaborate little metaphor that I'll save for later. But when it comes to the connection here, I have yet to find someone who'll argue that a brand is somehow a relationship in some way, right? It's this connection. And it always is so feel good and it's based off people and da 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 da. And then marketing gets a hold of it and goes, okay, well, now I'm going to blast you 72 times until you buy something and blah, blah, blah. No. So what I do is I bring relational psychology to the brand relationship, and that carries over into marketing. And so I have four core pillars. I have consent, reciprocity, trust, and belonging. And so when you talk about informed decision making, that really falls into the consent portion of mine. And this is the most applicable one to non-manipulative marketing. It's about transparency. It's about letting people know what they're opting into, what the expectations of this relationship are going to be, and being forthcoming about it. Because here's the thing, at the end of the day, we're living in a world where we do have to make money. It's still business. There will be a transaction, but let's be honest about how we're going about it and what we actually offer and how it's going to affect your life. So I would say that's the parallel in what that looks like in marketing, which is why things like false, um, like manufactured urgency, right? Or deep discounts that actually never go away. Things like that. That's where you're starting to blur the lines in that consent pillar.
Yeah. FOMO, where does FOMO sit? Or does it depend how much you've turned up the FOMO dial?
So here's what's interesting with FOMO because I feel like there's things that are naturally inherent to human behavior. And then there's exploiting them, right? So
Yeah.
like we
Yeah.
can't change that somebody has those things, but we can be cognizant of how those things are affecting the consumer. So if we know that people have the FOMO and then we double down on increasing it as a tactic.
Yeah. Yeah. And do you think it backfires to a certain
Yeah.
degree? If you go, we're doing that, we're applying it, we're applying it, we're applying it. You'll say, yeah, it does.
Yeah. So because here's one of the other things that I do is we look at the human decision-making model, right? And then we
Yeah.
layer it on top of what we call the sales funnel or
Yeah.
that those these funnels.
Yeah.
Well, with a funnel, you get to this point of like, okay, you've purchased, right? And now you have this user experience, and then there's like the deciding to repurchase. But what actually happens in the brain is that you get the dopamine hit from gratification before the actual transaction. It's at the point that you decide to make the decision, which occurs before the transaction, which means that the
Yeah.
second that you make the transaction, the brain is automatically evaluating, was this worth it? Is it helping me? Do I have regret? Immediately. So if you're getting someone to convert based off of some of these negative emotions, what we know from relational psychology is that those things don't fix those problems. They don't fill those voids. Those are surface level issues. So you got a pretty high chance that the brain, because 95% is happening in the subconscious, that the brain is going, ugh, this was bad. That wasn't that wasn't the right choice.
Interesting. So the guys who wrote the Challenger sale, where it's a style of working in B2B where you turn up and you have insight, you have perspective, and you might need to push a little bit, but it's not be pushy and pressurize, but it's have uncomfortable discussions with people because
Right.
it's for their best it's their best interest. Their latest research is that when we're looking at the buying process, it's like, yes, there might be an element of FOMO, and yes, you might use it to a degree to help them open their eyes to something. But at some stage, they're going to start going, right, yes, I'm going to do something about this. Is it the right decision? So FOMO turns to FOMO, and this fear of messing up starts to take over. And if they're in that
Yeah.
phase and you haven't spotted it, and you're still piling on the FOMO, it's like, actually, you're making me even more nervous now than
Correct.
I've
Yeah.
started to be because I my brain has moved to a different place. I'm thinking
Yep.
about something different. Yeah.
Well, and then you start to get into the nuance of it too, because ethics isn't about what's right and wrong. You can put two people in looking at the same situation, and one will say it's right and one will say it's wrong. I mean, there's some clear areas where most human beings would look and say, no, that falls in one camp or the other. But really, when we get into branding and marketing and sales, there is a blur. And one of the things I try really hard to do, like in my LinkedIn content, is keep the door open for multiple perspectives because I have had many people who have said, to me though, this is table stakes for me. When I am in this type of buying relationship, got it. I understand this is how it's going to be. And then I have other people who are like, absolutely not. I hate it. It grosses me out. So when we start to talk about, I think so much of it comes down, what is the intent,
Yeah.
right? What are you holding space for? Because people, the number one thing they teach you in consumer psychology is that consumers are lazy and that because 95% of the decision making occurs in the subconscious brain, they cannot actually like accurately articulate what they want or need. It's deeper than that. There's whole like laddering interview techniques. There's all sorts of stuff. It's one of the things I teach people is how to start putting some of this into your marketing approach so you're marketing at the same time you're getting consumer insights because it's what's in between what people say,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. 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 No. So you're the consumer there, which is probably more B2C. I think you yeah. And I'm
Yeah,
kind of
I
going
mean,
B to
when I
B,
say
but
consumer, I mean
similar.
anyone who's purchasing, anyone
Anyone's
who's
buying. Okay.
making a
Okay.
buying decision.
Okay.
Yeah.
And any customer. Okay. So yeah. So B2B as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they say something like the classic one is like, "Oh, tell me about your product," and then salespeople go and tell them about the product. So they're not telling. They know they don't
Mhm.
want another product presentation. They've looked at your website. They know what your
Yes.
product is and does. They're
Yeah.
saying, "I'm still trying to make sense of the problem that I've got here. I can't put two and two together. Help me do that." And
Hmm.
that's what a smart salesperson would do. That's what
Yeah.
smart marketing would do as well, wouldn't it? It'd be going,
Hmm.
"You've probably got these problems." Oh, yeah, I have. Rather than, "Hey, look at this. It's the best in the world. It's the most innovative. It's not,
Hmm.
all the words that we
Well,
use."
most marketing and sales goes after that 5% logicking. But here's the thing, all of the information we receive comes into the brain. It hits the limbic system before the prefrontal cortex. Well, the limbic system is feeling. Now, this is happening in milliseconds. And yes, you've got predisposition for more logicking. But this is why we say there's no such thing as a logical buyer, even in B2B, because that's
Yeah.
not how your body works. You're having a somatic feeling response to everything that's coming in. Jay Abraham says, if you can define the problem better than the person with the problem, they'll assume you have the solution. Something along those lines.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So you're showing them this transformation arc. This is what I tell people is like you hear a lot of people like, oh, it's storytelling, it's narrative, it's this. Okay, great. But what does that mean when it comes to the brass tacks of I've got an email drip campaign. I've got a social media strategy. I have whatever. What story are you telling? I call it the transformation arc. You're going to take them from their current state to their desired state. And if you can say that, in a way that resonates with them on a subconscious feeling level, they're going to assume that you know how to get past every single obstacle in the way.
Yeah. Yeah. I also talk about pain to prize.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What pain are they feeling? What don't they like? They don't want to be here and over there,
Yes.
other side of the river. Oh, that's where they want to be. That's the prize. That's the promised land. Explain both of those. They go, you get it. And
Yes.
then, oh, and I've got a bridge.
Yes.
All right, I've got the
That's right.
stepping stones, and you can have the stepping stones which get you across there.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Very interesting. Very cool. You said something, and I just want to make sure I understand this. You've talked about relational psychology. Relation, yeah.
Yeah.
What's relational psychology? Why is that different to psychology?
Okay, so I'm going to get into some things because one of the things that I've been
Yeah.
doing is kind of like creating my own space here. Um,
Ah, it's your word.
my word. It is
No,
my
that's all
word.
right. You're allowed to invent your
And
own things.
because I haven't been able to find words or spaces or vernacular or language around a lot of the stuff that I'm bringing into business. As a matter of fact, for years, while consulting on the side, I've had people be like, "I think you need to look at something else. This isn't going to resonate." Well, I got bad news for those people. It's resonating hard,
It's resonated
especially
with me so far.
yeah, especially as AI starts to take off, especially as the job market is, I'm in the States, right? Gets super unstable and people are like,
Mm.
do I create my own thing? How do something on the side? It's resonating. So when I say relational psychology, I'm gonna go back and tell you a little story of origin here. I've been in marketing for coming up on 18 years. About 11 years ago, I started a personal therapy journey. Okay, so I go into therapy and I start to learn about how my brain works and how I show up in relationships and all these things. And then I come back to my marketing job and go, oh, well, duh, that's all this is. Marketing is just an amplification of human relationship. It's communication. In business, we love to dehumanize and we love to add all these fancy words. But we're people doing business with people, right? And so
Yeah.
it was just starting to click. And so throughout my corporate career, and it was helping me advance and advance and advance. And then I get up to this more like executive leadership level, and I keep getting icked out in corporate. And you're like, so I'm running consulting on the side. And then finally decide, like, okay, we're going to take the deep dive. I'm just gonna jump into the deep into the pool. I've got a whole waiting list of people. I'm just going to do this full time. Well, what is the first thing somebody does in marketing is we figure out what's our brand position? What's the gap in the market? What's in alignment with my core of integrity and my ethos? How do I want to show up? Because now, guess what? There's no corporate veil to hide behind. It's just me. I can name myself whatever I want. I can use fonts and colors, but it's me. What's going to feel right? Because you also don't want dissonance, right? I don't want to be like selling something and someone gets on a call and was like, oh, well, that didn't make any sense. That's not what I got. And so as I start to do this research and I realize like I'm fairly academic, I love to nerd out on the science. But I also have a huge disdain and have from the beginning for anything unethical. I'm constantly teaching my children, like, sure, you want that thing at the store. You want to know why you want it? Because you don't actually want it. The fonts, the colors, the everyone else has it. Like, so the positioning came down to I want multiple layers. I want to hold space for the nuance of human behavior in business because what you have is you've got one side, you have all the academics and the thought leaders and the authors and the science. And then you have your single point of I build funnels, right? I optimize conversion. I do go to market. I do this particular part. Okay, well, nothing operates in a vacuum. Who's pulling the through line here? Who's
Mm.
grabbing all of this and teaching people, not gatekeeping information so that you have to go back and pay someone another $10,000 when technology changes? Who's educating someone and empowering them to do business that centers around humanity at the same time that you're giving them actual tangible services to help their business? Well, not a lot of people in my space. This was a whole long story to get to relational psychology. My point is because we're doing business with people and a brand is a relationship, a brand should follow the same things that we teach people in their personal lives for healthy relationships. You have to have consent, right? People aren't just going to trust you. What is the one thing I teach my kids all the time? People can say anything they want. You watch watch what they show you. Do they consistently respect you? Right? So reciprocity, equal value exchange back and forth. Then you can earn trust. And what does trust really mean? And what does trust mean in business? Because there's some really cool science about how it improves your bottom line. But how do you get there? Because now it's just a buzzword. I see it on billboards down the road. I'm like, I don't even know if they know what that means because that football player that you put on the sign, I don't trust that guy. Like, what are you talking about? But
What are
the
you trying to
other,
achieve with that? You're trying to drive me away. Yeah, 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 yeah.
the deeper level for me, so those are my three, right? In grad school, though, I also started researching the psychological construct of belonging. Okay. And sense of belonging, you can find it on Maslow's hierarchy of needs in the 60s, right? It's been there. And there's actual science that shows so human beings need food, water, shelter. They need connection, right? You cannot belong to or with anyone else until you belong to yourself. Well, what does it mean to belong to yourself? Well, you have to know yourself. You have to be vulnerable. So, to me, strong brand doesn't stop at trust. Building what I call a belong brand is the epitome of a healthy, ethical brand relationship. Have you created a space where people who authentically know who they are and the version of themselves they want to be, they can be that there and they can trust that you're going to respect the relationship there. Exhibit A, Target. My daughter is 10 years old. Last year, when she was 9 years old, it was her favorite store. My God, she would beg me to go to Target. Well, guess what happened in the United States shortly after January is that there was some political narrative that shifted, and all of a sudden, DEI became the super optional thing. And Target immediately rolled back all their DEI. So we're on the way to a birthday party, and my daughter says, Hey, I want to go to Target afterwards to do whatever. And I said, There's something I just want you to know because she's very like, wants to know what's going on in her world. So I tell her what happened. And she goes, Well, what does that mean? So we start to talk about kind of like what that means. And she goes, Well, I'm not going to shop at Target anymore. We've not stepped foot in a Target since January or February or whenever it happened because they broke trust. It's no longer a place she feels like she can belong.
This is so interesting. So, I mean, you're seeing me scribbling away
Mhm.
furiously and moving little bits and pieces around my notepad. So I want to come back to that. I need to come back to that. I want to ask you about
Yeah.
that. But also didn't want to interrupt you while you were on a real good roll there. Um, I like it. No, no, it makes a lot of sense. And what it also sounds like to me then is that, or maybe I'm just reflecting myself in this. You'll check. Is that when we talk about ethics, it's very easy to go off up into the clouds. Yeah. And so
Hmm.
you start talking about morals and principles and this sort of thing, and off you go. And then you get into some wonderful debates, and
Hmm.
that's debating club stuff. Well, that's sort of, sitting down around a log fire, the whiskey, whatever. People want tactics. They go, okay, I get it. Yeah,
Yes.
I want to do good things. How do I do it? Take me to a tactical level. Trust. Okay, build trust. What do you mean? What can I
Hmm.
actually do day in, day
Yes.
out to build trust? And it sounds like that's where you're going with this is look, I've done this thinking. I can go there if you
Hmm.
want, but I suspect what you probably want is some tactical stuff to get yourself out there to do a better job.
Correct.
And you go
Yeah.
tactical. Yeah. With that's what I did with the ethical selling book. It's like I could have gone all into some navel gazing up here,
Exactly.
but it's
Yeah.
transparency. Okay,
Yes.
how do you do transparency?
Yes.
Yeah, well, there's a wonderful sales tactic for this. You lead with a flaw. I learned this from a guy called Todd Capone. He wrote the book Transparency Sales, so he's
Yeah.
got quite a lot of ideas around that. You say, if this is the most important thing for you, then we might not be the best option.
Hmm.
However, if this and this and this are also key parts, then this is why we should carry on the discussion.
Yeah.
And some people just don't get it. They don't get their heads around, why would I do that? I would try and hide that. Others would go, no, I get it. I could see why that'd be a massive trust builder as well.
Hmm.
And so you can take stuff tactically, just say that, do that, set yourself up to be like that,
Yeah.
and it'll work. So you're doing
Yeah.
similar with marketing then.
Yep. Yep, similar
Yeah.
things. And I've built my entire business using these principles as like my core case study. So it's like I'm gonna practice it to show y'all. Like I offer free 20-minute brain science sessions, no pitch promise. But I've yet to get off a single one where someone hasn't said, "How do I work with you?"
Yeah.
Right? When you show up truly willing to help people, like that's what it
Yeah.
comes down to.
So let's just go back over these again. So we've got consent, reciprocity,
Yep.
trust, and belonging.
Hmm.
They were the kind of the four pillars.
Yep.
So 20-minute brand session, that's reciprocity. Here, look, have it on me.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
take it. Yeah, you
Or
might
like
give
my
something back.
belong
Could be a thing.
framework. You don't have to
Yeah,
opt in. You can go to my website. You do not opt in for my belong framework. You just click it. I don't need your email. I want people to have the information, right?
yeah.
Now, my audit, my 5-minute audit, I offer quite a bit of information in there and it gives you something actionable to do. The framework is just information. Then I
So
ask
the
for help.
five, so the 5-minute audit. What you're saying there is, okay, so belong framework. It's there. But have it. Take it.
Yep.
Don't want anything from you.
Yep.
5-minute audit. Okay, a fair exchange of value here is I'm
Hmm.
giving you a decent amount. It seems like an email address would be
Right.
reasonable swap. Yeah,
Yep.
but then I'm going to give you more. Give you more. Not like how do you go right now? Buy, 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 buy. It's like, oh, here's some more stuff. Here's some more stuff. Here's some more stuff. Because yeah,
Yeah. Well, I put out so much content. And actually, as a matter of fact, I have only been building an email list. I do not actively run any sort of newsletter or anything like that because up until I'm going to start in January because I've taken the entire year to start listening to my audience. I run polls, I've sent random emails and kind of looking at some of the data because I want to know what y'all want from me. If if I'm going to send you an email, it better be in alignment with what is worthy of adding another ding on your phone. Because the other thing that I'm looking at right now is a correlation between running branding and marketing this way and regulating the nervous system. Because we are all operating in survival mode every single day.
it's not getting any easier, is it either? Yeah,
Now, think about what happens if when that information that you're sending out hits the limbic system and the body goes, oh, then what do? You seek it out. Right?
yeah.
So, how do you create messaging and customer experiences that are not just aligned with the human decision making model? So, you're holding space for how human beings are actually navigating these decisions, but also intentionally saying, I have done my homework and I know that if you're in this part of my audience, you are dealing with this, and this outside of how you like business. And I'm going to give you a space where I hold space for those things and I give you an exhale instead of a cringe.
Do you know why I'm smart? I'm giggling at this because I've literally just written my newsletter to go out tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I talked about the same thing that how do you know when you're hitting the right notes to the customer? They will tell you. And
Yes.
they will tell you through their sounds. And I've
Yep.
kind of got these sounds. They'll go from nah, no interest, not relevant, whatever.
Yep.
Hmm. Again, doubtful, not really convinced. Okay. Well, okay's not very good, really, is it?
Right.
Good. We're getting somewhere. That's good.
Uh-huh.
If they go, wow, okay, it's better than a good, isn't it?
Yeah.
But the ah, somebody gets it. They get me. I've relaxed into it. Oh,
Yes.
this is excellent. I'm feel heard, or I can see there's light at the end of the tunnel. That deep, satisfied kind of like, yes, yeah.
Yes.
That's why I was smiling so
Yes.
much. It's in front of me now. I was just looking through
Yeah. And
those
you
things.
nailed it because I have so many people who are like, well, how am I going to know if it's going to work? How many people tell you? And
Yeah.
here's a wild idea. I just talked to a client about this yesterday who was like, well, I don't know. Does it make more sense to call it this or does it make sense to call it that? And I'm like, you've got 13,000 followers on LinkedIn. Post a poll and ask them, hey,
Yeah.
what
Don't
language
don't don't
resonates with you?
Don't put three op don't put three options. I did this once about something stupid. It's about running a retreat somewhere. I said, should we do it in Malaga or Marbella or somewhere or Madrid? Anyway, there's two exotic places of Mansfield, right, which is where I live, which
Yeah.
is a mining town in England. Of course, everyone voted Mansfield, didn't they? Bastards. So careful, careful. And of course, you know the boaty look boat face story, don't you?
No, tell me.
You don't know boat. This, but it's the British people can't be trusted. So there was this science research vessel,
Okay.
and they put out like, what should we call it? And of course, somebody submitted the idea that it should be Boaty McBoatface.
Oh no, I do know this. I do know
And of
this.
course,
Yes,
everyone goes,
yes, yes,
"Oh
yes.
yeah, Boaty McBoatface,
But
Boaty."
I
So of course, they
do.
had to call this damn thing Boaty
Go to
McBoatface
big
because
boat face.
it's people can't be trusted, basically. No. And they called
Yes.
it, and it's brilliant. So
I haven't
yeah,
thought about
and
that in a while. That is funny. Yeah.
that is funny. Um, that's very cool. So where are we? So we're talking about the consent, reciprocity. So again, we can give, be generous,
Yeah.
put stuff out there. It actually makes a lot of sense, just from the fact that then people can see that you know what you're on about.
Exactly.
I actually do know
Yeah.
somebody that keeps telling everyone how expert he is. I'm a real expert. I've done all this. I said, mate, why don't you write a book or something? Oh, no, I'm not giving that away. Why don't you post more about it then? No, people can pay me for it. It's like, are they? He goes, well, I'd like more. I said, well, they don't know you're an expert. Well, I tell them I am. Well, and I know you tell them you're an expert. You're not showing them.
Right.
Share the stuff and people go, is that what you give away? Yeah. Cool. What do I pay for? It's implementation usually, isn't it? It's not actually the
Right.
information. The information's out there, but I'll help you get the stuff
Right.
into place fast. Yeah.
And
So
not only that, but like people, you and I, we have our area of expertise, right? And if you've read Malcolm Gladwell's Blink, where it talks about like the brain spot, it was like, boom, I know, I know, I know. We can look at things through our lens of expertise and in a matter of minutes be much further down the road because that's how our brain is hardwired. I'm going to look at things through this lens. I am. I'm going to watch an ad and I'm going to roll my eyes and I'm going to say things like, okay, well, thanks for fear mongering me in the middle of my show. Like, that's what I look for, right? Somebody else, I have a friend who works in cultural intelligence and he's going to look at it and go, that was a really interesting choice of music. I wouldn't think that.
yeah,
So you're paying for the ability to get there faster. We can get you to your desired state at a higher velocity and in a way that can see the pitfalls, right?
yep,
That gets you, I call it scalable, sustainable infrastructure. We can build the ship while we sail it because here's the thing. What business has time to go? You know what? We're going to go on hold for 6 months while we do some deep positioning work and train our salespeople and then we'll relaunch. Like, no, you have got to keep moving forward with mission critical while you rebuild or refine the infrastructure, hiring experts who can see the field like that. You're paying to build the ship while you sail it.
yeah. Well, I mean, I talked about the bridge and the stepping
Yep.
stones.
Yep.
It's like we put those stepping stones in place, and we can get them in that place. You'll do that, then you'll do that, and you'll do that.
Yep.
I'll tell you what they are. I've even gone down the route now of actually saying, I'll tell you the stuff. Look, there are the 15 things that you'll need in your sales process broadly. I'll tell you what they are. Come on a webinar, I'll do them every month. Bang, have it.
Yep.
There we go. Um, I've even started saying, look, when I put it in place, I do it in 90 days. I'll tell you what you need to be doing in each of
Yes.
those 2 week chunks if you want. Again, look, have it, fill your boots.
Yes.
If that's what and you can do it on your own, brilliant. You don't need me. We'll be wasting
Yep.
each other's time, won't we?
There is a huge difference between education and implementation.
Yeah, yeah,
Huge difference. I go through it, Solomon's paradox, right? You can't read the label from inside the bottle. I know how to do all these things. I got a laundry list of stuff I just haven't done,
yeah.
Because like I know I need to do it, but it's different when it's you.
Oh, we could go. I just looked at the clock. Wow, we've been going on time. So I have a conundrum for you. Is it a
Okay.
conundrum? Is it a dilemma? I don't know what it is. I don't even know the word. But it's where I have used an influence technique, and you can
Okay.
tell me whether I'm good Fred or bad Fred.
Okay.
Right? So as part of the trading that I do, it involves doing some segmentation of different accounts into different categories: bees, fish, goats, and geese,
Okay.
depending on how you're going to work with them. So you want geese that lay golden eggs, and you go fishing for the ones which are going to become geese, and the bees sting you and they're a bit annoying, and goats are
Okay.
ugly and needy. Right. So something like that. Okay.
Got it.
Right.
Love
Got
it.
it. So going through that, and I want people to do this. I said, right, I want you to do this. We've got 2 weeks till the next session. You're going to do it. If you all do this by then what I'm going to do, because I'm a member of B1G1, which is Buy One Give One, which is a business for good organization,
Okay.
and you submit these before the next session, then what I will do using my money is I will buy a goat, because I gave goats a bit of a kicking and say we don't talk to goats, but I'll buy a goat for a family in Africa through this platform that I'm a member of. So you all have to do this, then I will do that.
Mm.
Good friend or bad friend doing that? Is that
I have a follow-up
manipulative?
question.
Is it manipulative persuasion? Is it ethical because it's with good intent? What's happening? Where am I going? Heaven or hell?
Can I ask a follow-up question?
You can, yeah.
What is your intent behind doing that?
My intent behind doing that is that we can get benefit for a whole bunch of people. They will benefit because they will do the work that they should be doing anyway. I will benefit because they will do the work which will drive them towards the results that I've promised the company which has contracted me. But actually, these people we don't even know will also benefit just because we've done the stuff that we should be doing as well. So actually, we can get layers of benefit through doing our actions.
And
And it gets it done.
if somebody said, Fred, why would you do that? Would you give them the answer you just gave me?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'd say
So I
because
say,
we'll benefit.
good, Fred, because
Ah, thank goodness for that.
if you're willing to tell them why, you have consent. You've been transparent, right? It's reciprocity in action. Multiple boxes to this. As soon as you said, well, it helps all these different people. There's nothing wrong or bad about doing things that help you, as long as you're not just doing things to help you at the expense of others, which is not what you're doing, right?
Yeah,
Third, trust. If you follow through, you've built trust. It's a little bit too one-off to know whether or not it gets into belonging, because belonging is so complex over time and it depends on the other person as well. But if that person is passionate about also helping others, you're checking the boxes. Also, I think this is brilliant considering the fact that you use all of these different things and then you're actually like, I've never heard anything like this. I think it's fantastic.
that's good. I guess the belonging is we're in it together. Hey, we can do some stuff
Yes.
over here by doing that.
Hmm.
Okay, that's good. Oh, good. Well, I'm glad I'm going to Heaven, and you kind of like the concept of it. So that's
Yeah.
that's awesome. Oh, there seems to be so much we could probably talk about here. Maybe we need to do another
Yeah,
episode at some stage.
absolutely.
But in the meantime, then, where can people get in touch and start to kind of get some more of this goodness that you've been talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. So LinkedIn is my primary platform. I post a ton of content. I have a weekly newsletter that I break down. So it's just Chelsea Burns. I'm sure we can drop the link in there so
Yep,
people can come find me.
we'll put it in the show notes.
Yep.
Yep.
And then my website is themarketingpsychologist.co.co. Um, so
Yeah.
you can head over there. It's currently being completely revamped at the moment. So within the next few days, we'll have a bright refresh for 2026. And yeah, I would love to meet anyone. Again, I do. I love meeting people. I hop on calls with people all the time. Like, don't be a stranger.
Awesome. Chelsea, thank you so much for coming along and sharing stuff. And
Absolutely.
it's been really good fun. So I think we have another one in the making at some stage.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to the Sales Today podcast with me, your host, Fred Copestake. I hope you've enjoyed what you heard today. If you did, please get in touch and hit subscribe. And remember, you can take the collaborative selling scorecard for free to check out how your sales approach works in today's environment. You'll find it in the show notes.